Okay, so, this time you send in some really fascinating stuff. A couple of videos, actually, from this YouTube channel, Ramiz Kaiser, right?
Right.
And it looks like, kind of at the core, it's about, like, character building and then, like, contentment and gratitude.
Yeah. Yeah.
All within the context of Pakistan, which I think is pretty cool.
Yes, it's super interesting because these concepts, while universal, do have some, like, cultural nuances.
Yeah.
That are really insightful.
For sure. So I think for this deep dive, what we should do is, like, really try to pull out.
Yes.
What are those key takeaways?
Absolutely.
How are these things understood and, like, cultivated in that specific context?
Mm-hmm.
And, what can we, I guess, like, extract from that might be useful or relevant?
Yeah, exactly. Like, how can we kind of bridge that understanding to other cultural contexts as well?
Exactly.
Like,
I think from both videos, there's like two main themes that emerge right away. So one is really this focus on the development of, like, strong ethical character. And they actually talk a lot about, like, within education, how important that is, like in schools and universities. And then the second theme is this connection between contentment and gratitude.
Gotcha.
And how they relate to each other. So maybe we can, like, break down those two one by one.
Okay, yeah. Let's start with the character building one then. So it sounds like you said it was a big focus in the video. So they're looking at it, like, not just from an individual perspective, but, like,
exactly,
how do you actually cultivate this?
Yeah. It's presented as this, like, core objective,
Right.
in the education system in Pakistan. So it's not just about, like, academic success, but also about shaping these, like, responsible and ethical and also, like, resilient individuals who can, contribute to society positively.
So they are, like, actively thinking about, like, what kind of people are we creating? Not just
totally.
like what are their test scores?
Yeah.
It's more holistic approach,
Yeah.
It's not just about, like, filling them with information. It's about shaping their whole being almost.
Okay, cool. So what kind of values then are they emphasizing? Because, you say, like, ethical character. There's a lot of, ideas that go into that.
Totally. So the core values that they really highlight are honesty, integrity, empathy, and respect.
Okay. Yeah. So it's, like, pretty foundational, like, when you think about it.
Yeah, absolutely. These are really considered to be, like, these crucial, like, building blocks for character development.
Got it. So they're not just, like, talking about these in the abstract, though, right? They're, like,
no, not at all,
trying to connect them to actual actions.
Exactly. And they actually use a really, like, powerful example. They tell this story about a student named Ali who's taking this exam, right? Yeah. And it's a tough exam. You can, like, feel the pressure in the room.
Right.
And Ali, he notices that his classmate's answer sheet is, like, right there, like, in plain view. So it's that classic, like, temptation moment, right?
Yeah.
Like, do you take the easy way out or stick to your principles?
So what happens? What does Ali do?
Well, he chooses not to cheat.
Okay.
Which is, it's presented as this really significant decision.
Yeah.
Because he's under pressure, and it's not like a theoretical exercise. It's like a real in-the-moment choice.
Totally, yeah.
And the video emphasizes that the teacher, like, acknowledges this. Like, the teacher praises Ali's honesty.
Okay.
And kind of makes this point that, like, truthfulness has a value that goes way beyond just grades.
Totally, yeah. It's not even like he's being praised just for, like, avoiding getting in trouble.
Right, exactly.
It's about, like, there's an inherent goodness in that.
Yeah, it's about recognizing the inherent worth of honesty itself.
Right. I'm just thinking about that, like, even in that environment. Yeah. If your classmates see that, like...
Totally.
Wow. He didn't cheat even when he could have.
Exactly. And the video, like, highlights that, too. It says that Ali earns the respect of his classmates.
Yeah.
So it's like, even in that kind of, like, competitive exam setting, choosing integrity actually, like, elevates his social standing.
Right. It's like you're actually becoming, like, you're more respected because of it.
Yeah. It's showing that, like, integrity has social currency.
Just totally. Yeah, like, it's not just this, like, goody two-shoes thing. It's like, actually, people are drawn to that.
Absolutely. And I think, like, connecting this to a bigger picture,
Okay.
Ali's action kind of shows that being true to yourself really builds this, like, trustworthy reputation. And the video is saying that that's not just like a nice thing to have, but it actually opens doors to opportunities.
Right.
And helps you create these like meaningful relationships that last.
Yeah.
Because people, they value and trust those who consistently demonstrate integrity.
Yeah, totally. And there was one other point I remember them making in the video that really stuck out to me, which was about self-confidence.
Oh, yes.
And how it's not like this huge, monumental thing that you have to like.
It's not some like distant achievement, right? You have to like reach for and grab.
You don't have to like climb a mountain to get it.
Exactly.
It's actually built through these like seemingly small victories, like what Ollie did, It's like every time you act like in alignment with your values, it kind of reinforces that belief in yourself.
It strengthens your sense of self.
Yeah.
So each time you choose integrity, it's like you're building this like moral muscle memory. Almost.
No, I like that.
Right. It's like that neural pathway gets stronger.
Okay.
And it makes it easier to choose it again.
Yeah.
And it just like boosts your internal sense of worthiness.
Yeah, totally. So, okay, that was a lot on that first video. And
there's a lot packed in there.
Really? Yeah. It seems like there's a lot to unpack there.
Absolutely.
So that was about character building. Now, the second one you said was about contentment and gratitude.
Yes.
And how they kind of relate to each other. Exactly.
So this one focuses on contentment and gratitude within the context of Pakistan, right? And they use these terms, qana'ah for contentment.
Okay.
And shukr for gratitude.
Okay.
And what's super interesting here is their central argument is that gratitude actually strengthens contentment.
Gotcha.
But also contentment fosters gratitude.
So it's like a two-way street.
It is. It's like they feed each other, right?
Yeah. So it's not just like be grateful and then you'll be content.
It's a mutual reinforcement.
More complex. So let's break that down a bit.
Okay, yeah.
So the first part, like how does gratitude actually lead to contentment?
So the first idea is that actively practicing gratitude.
Okay.
Right. Like really taking the time to appreciate the positive aspects of your life, whether they're big or small.
Right.
That can directly contribute to a greater sense of contentment.
Okay, but what's like the mechanism there? Like how does that actually work?
So what they're saying in the video is that when you like consciously focus on what you're thankful for, it shifts your perspective,
Okay.
So instead of like focusing on what you're lacking or what's going wrong, your attention kind of gets drawn to all the good things, the positive elements that are already present in your life. And that shift in focus, like that's what cultivates that feeling of contentment.
Yeah. And it's like, it makes sense because if you're constantly focused on like what's missing, you're never going to be content.
Right. It's like you're always chasing something, right?
Yeah.
But if you can kind of retrain your brain to focus on what you already have, then you can start to feel that contentment.
Yeah. And I think that also connects to like a lot of what you hear in like positive psychology, like cognitive reframing and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's about like recognizing that your thoughts have power.
Yeah.
And that if you can change your thoughts, you can change your emotional state.
Exactly, yeah. So it's not like some magical thing. There's like actual mechanisms at play.
It's a practice, It's something you have to cultivate. Right. Okay, so that was one side of it, but then you also said that like contentment makes you more grateful.
Exactly, yeah. So it's not just a one-way street,
Okay.
It's like the more content you are with what you have, the more easily you can, feel that gratitude for what you have. It's like this like positive feedback loop almost.
Right. So like if you're not like constantly striving for that like next thing.
Exactly. You're not always on that hedonic treadmill.
Yeah.
You're able to like step off and actually appreciate what's right there in front of you.
Right. So they really emphasize that like
yes,
it's going both ways.
It's not just that like being grateful leads to contentment, but that being content can also like lead to this flourishing of thankfulness,
It's like, it's almost like they feed off each other.
They do. They totally do. And that leads to this idea of mutual reinforcement.
Okay.
That they talk about in the video, which is this idea that, each one like strengthens the other.
Right.
So cultivating contentment makes you more thankful.
Yeah.
And then practicing thankfulness deepens that sense of contentment even more.
So it's like this upward spiral almost.
Exactly. It's not about achieving one and then the other. It's about recognizing that they work together.
Right.
To create this more positive internal state.
Gotcha. Okay. So we've talked about character building, we've talked about contentment and gratitude. Now, was there anything else in that second video that really stood out to you?
Well, actually, there's this really important part where they talk about the role of contentment and gratitude in like resilience and being able to cope with life challenges.
Okay, yeah.
Which I think is like so relevant.
Right, because it's like it's easy to, to talk about being content when everything's good.
Right, exactly. It's easy to be grateful when things are going your way.
Yeah.
But what about when things are tough?
Yeah, exactly. Like how
do these concepts actually help you navigate those difficult times?
Yeah, and it's almost like that thing, when people say like count your blessings and you're like, whatever. But like when you're in a really tough spot, it's almost like if you can do that, it's almost like it
could be so grounding.
You're grounding yourself.
Yeah.
So, what do they say about that?
Well, they give this example, like they say that people who generally experience contentment and who practice gratitude, they tend to be more resilient.
Gotcha.
When they face challenges,
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it makes sense,
Yeah.
Like it's something we see in a lot of people who, even when things are tough, they still maintain this positive outlook. And it's like, well, how do they do that?
Right.
And I think contentment and gratitude are a big part of it.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense to me. Like if you're, used to focusing on what you have and you're not always feeling like, oh, I need this.
Exactly.
Then when something bad happens, it's not like you're like knocked off your feet completely.
You're not starting from a place of lack,
Yeah.
So you're better equipped to handle those setbacks.
Right. And then how does gratitude specifically play into that?
So they say gratitude is like really key for resilience because it helps you reframe difficult situations.
Right.
Like it enables you to see like what are the silver linings here?
Yeah.
What's still good? What can I still be thankful for? Even in this hard situation. And that reframing like can lead to greater contentment.
Right.
Even when things are tough.
Right. It's like you're training your brain to look for the good, even when it's hard.
Yeah, it's like building that muscle of gratitude.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so we've covered like these two separate, but I think like, now that we've talked about both of them, they're connected in a way, right? So like, how do you think these two themes like kind of work together?
That's a really good question. Like I'm thinking about Ali from the first video, and his choice, to be honest. And I'm wondering like, wouldn't that kind of ethical character, built on honesty and integrity, wouldn't that probably lead to a greater sense of contentment over time?
Yeah. I mean, like, it makes sense, right? Like, if you're living in alignment with, what you believe is right, that's going to bring a certain...
There's this kind of, like, inner peace that comes with that,
Yeah, totally. So I was going to say, like, conversely, if you're, like, going against what you think is right all the time, that's going to weigh on you.
Oh, absolutely. It's going to create this like cognitive dissonance,
Yeah, totally. So yeah, it's almost like building that character kind of lays the groundwork for that.
It sets the foundation,
Contentment, maybe?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. And then like thinking about it the other way around, right?
Okay.
Like how could contentment and gratitude actually reinforce ethical behavior and resilience?
Oh, yeah.
Like if you're already satisfied with what you have, are you less likely to like take those dishonest shortcuts?
Right.
Or do those unethical things just because you want more?
That's such a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like contentment can be a buffer against temptation, right?
Totally.
Because you're not driven by that constant desire for more.
And then I guess the gratitude piece too, like if you're grateful for the things you have, you're probably more likely to like want to protect those things, including like the relationships that you've built through.
Yeah, because you recognize their value, right?
Yeah.
You're not taking them for granted.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so it's like it all ties together.
Totally. Yeah. It's like they're not separate at all. It's like these things.
Yeah, they're intertwined.
Really, yeah.
They support each other.
So, like, the big takeaway here, for those of you listening, is that it's about this connection between personal values and your inner well-being, right?
Exactly. And you know, it's presented within the context of Pakistan, but the principles, I think, apply much more broadly, you know.
Yeah. I mean, they're pretty universal. Like, be a good person, be grateful, be happy with what you have. It's like, it's pretty much everywhere.
Absolutely. It's like a recipe for a good life.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. So, okay, as we're wrapping up here, I want to leave you with one final thought.
Okay.
Which is to think about how these ideas resonate with you. So, like, you know, the idea that even those small ethical choices that you make can have a big impact.
Totally.
And then the benefits of contentment and gratitude. Like, how does that play out in your own life? Like, regardless of where you live, your background.
Yeah.
Like, are there opportunities in your everyday life to actually practice?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think there are always those small moments, you know, where we can choose to be more honest, to be more empathetic, to practice gratitude.
Right. Right. It's not like you have to go do this huge thing to start cultivating that.
It's about those little everyday choices that they add up over time.
Exactly. Yeah. So, like, what's one small step you could take today, even to try to, you know, live a bit more in line with this?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think for me, it's always helpful to, like, start my day with some gratitude, you know, just taking a few moments to think about what I'm thankful for.
Right.
It sets the tone for the day, you know.
Totally. Totally. Well, this has been really great. Thank you so much for sharing these videos. This has been a really...
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course, of course. And to everyone listening, we will catch you on the next deep dive.
See you then.